Haley, did you just rip up your notes for the Tenet review?
Oops.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. We need those for the review. It hasn't happened yet. Don't be so unprofessional.
Hey everyone! So I'm going to be reviewing Tenet, but before I get into that, I'd like to talk about my experience finally heading back to a cinema since they reopened. It wasn't until I sat down in my seat and heard the first few chords of the Bond theme that I realized just how much I'd actually missed going to a cinema. It's definitely my happy place, and honestly, it was a very emotional experience, which I didn't expect. I think that was compounded by the fact that it was a Bond trailer that I saw first, and I'm such a huge Bond fan, and then that was followed by the Wonder Woman trailer, which is just amazing. It was very strange and very surreal, but I'm so glad that we can go back to cinemas again now because I really, really did miss it. So, Tenet is the latest film from director Christopher Nolan, who brought us the Dark Knight Batman trilogy, as well as Inception and The Prestige, Interstellar, and Dunkirk, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wait, you forgot about Memento.
I always forget about Memento. So Tenet stars John David Washington, who plays a spy that gets swallowed up in this gritty world of espionage where he's trying to prevent a future war. And all he's armed with is the word Tenet, which will open some of the right doors and some of the wrong doors, but he has no way of knowing. And basically, just chaos ensues, both forwards and backwards. It's a very fun film to watch, but it took me a while to kind of figure out how exactly I felt about it. When I left the cinema, I had a feeling that there was something missing. I'll start out with the positives. The very first thing is that the entire cast gives phenomenal performances. John David Washington plays the protagonist, and they mentioned that numerous times throughout the movie, in case you were confused by the fact that he's in almost every scene. They remind you constantly. Then there's Robert Pattinson. To be honest, he always gives great performances, but he's at the top of his game in this movie as well. And then Elizabeth Debicki is also excellent, and Kenneth Branagh, who plays a Russian. Now, I don't typically watch trailers for movies that I know I'm going to go see, and I didn't know that he was playing a Russian guy in this movie, and he does a really, really good job. The second thing I loved about it was the original concept, which is typical of Nolan with the likes of Interstellar and Inception, but the way he plays with the concept of time throughout the movie is like nothing you've ever seen before. Another thing that I really loved were the visuals. The film takes you to some incredible locations that are captured beautifully. It's shot so incredibly well, especially using the concept of time moving forwards and backwards throughout the movie. It gives great opportunities for some awesome effects, and they really are spectacular to see. The use of color in the movie is also very effective. It's so creative and clever the way they use the colors, especially red and blue, to sort of foreshadow what's going to happen at the end is very cool. So in terms of what I felt was missing in Tenet, for me, story should always come before spectacle. A film that favors its story will always be better than a film that favors spectacle, just because story is how you connect with the characters. And I really feel like Tenet fell into this trap. It spends so much time trying to get you to understand the gimmick that it doesn't allow enough time to develop a compelling story that allows you to connect with the characters. Other than the protagonist, who I did feel some kind of connection to, even though all of the main characters had decent arcs, it's not that their character arcs weren't fulfilled, it just felt like I didn't have enough reason to care for what was happening to them. Especially the protagonist sort of helps this woman during the movie, and I didn't really see his motivation to help her. It didn't come across clearly, and I didn't feel any kind of connection to her, which was a little bit frustrating. The movie also tends to escape logic a little bit by using the fact that the technology is from the future to avoid having to really explain it. So they're constantly trying to make you understand what's going on, but then at the same time they're like, oh, it's okay if you don't understand because the technology's from the future and they understand it, so it's okay. Even the trailer says, don't try to understand it, just feel it. So maybe that's where I went wrong. Maybe that's why my head hurt so much after watching the movie. I'll keep that in mind on second viewing. Another thing that bugged me was the film's absolutely relentless pace. From the opening scene, it doesn't hold up for a second. You have to concentrate so hard because everything that is said is so important and you cannot miss a single thing. And that's compounded by the fact that the score is so overwhelmingly loud that you literally cannot hear some of the dialogue in a few of the scenes. And in a movie where everything that the characters say is important, that becomes an issue. Because when you don't hear something, you spend the next 2 minutes trying to figure out what you didn't hear, and then you realize that you've missed out on another section of the movie. And it just becomes a snowball effect with you constantly trying to keep up with what's going on. So I don't know what happened. There was obviously an issue with the mix of the sound and the score, because the score isn't bad. It's a really good score. But you're focused so hard on trying to hear what the characters are saying that you actually don't even notice the score, which is really weird. So to conclude, I think Tenet is definitely a movie that can benefit from a second viewing. I would definitely like to see it again, probably on the big screen, because I feel like there's definitely a lot foreshadowed, and I feel like when you know what's going to happen and you kind of understand the concept a little better, you might be able to absorb more of what else is going on in the movie, and hopefully also maybe hear some of what you might have missed the first time around, or maybe you can learn how to lip read.
So what is it? Is it better than Inception?
It's definitely, I don't think it's better than Inception, because Inception has rewatchability, and Tenet is not a movie that I think I'd like to own so that I can watch it whenever I want. Inception, you can enjoy watching Inception no matter how many times you watch it. It's an enjoyable movie to watch. I just don't think it has an enormous amount of rewatchability. It's fun, the concept is fun. It's an enjoyable cinematic experience. It's definitely great to see it on a big screen. But yeah, there's just that little bit missing, and it's definitely the story, and it's unfortunate because I wanted to enjoy the movie a lot more than I did, especially since it's the first one that I saw going back to cinemas. So I definitely can't wait to head back to the cinema again. Honestly, Ster-Kinnecourt did such a good job making me feel really safe. I literally didn't touch a single thing other than the parking ticket, which I thought was really cool actually. The staff made you feel safe and welcomed, and everyone was really respectful of the rules, which was nice to see. So I'm very keen to... It's No Time to Die first, right?
Yeah, No Time to Die.
Followed by Wonder Woman?
Dune.
Dune before Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Cool. And then when is the Top Gun movie coming out?
Next year.
If any of this is set in stone, because it probably isn't. It'll probably change. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys are all staying safe out there. Bye. Bye-bye.
Cool, rip it up. Into tiny little pieces. That's good.
Spoo.
You're crying?
Spoo is just so dumb to say backwards.
So dumb.
Well, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I need to keep a straight face because it will be so funny if it works.
Okay.
If I can say spoo.